Under folders, you can see that there are some different colored folders here. And then you see that I've created some as well. So this one that says hot leads, all Vortex accounts are going to have that folder. That's basically if you're dialing and you are talking to someone and they're like, man, this person is a hot lead, or man, I really need to follow up with this person ASAP. If you click on a name of a lead, it pulls up what's called the detail view of it. And you'll notice up here at the top, there's these two different buttons. There's two here that will apply to filters and folders. The first one is this hot leads. So if I click this, it'll add this lead to the hot leads folder. And you can see now that it's showing that right here.
Yeah.
You can also add it to a specific folder here by clicking on that, and then I can select which folder I want to add it to. You can also see that it's showing here, hey, this is already in the hot leads folder because the check mark is checked next to that.
Right.
So you can also create a new folder if you want and add it to that folder as well, all within just that one area. And then the other one here is, so there's call sessions. If you have the dialer, you'll automatically have this folder. What this folder does is it tracks the last 10 call sessions that you've had. So every time you dial up a new set of leads, it'll track what leads are in that dial session or queued up there, and you can find them in a folder on that date with that time. That's so you don't lose any of your call sessions. If you end your call session and you want to come back to it because you didn't finish calling everyone, you can come to that folder and it'll show you what you have and haven't called.
And that you said that's exclusive when you are also subscribed to the dialer?
Correct. Yep. When you have the Wave dialer, any three of them, any one of the three, I should say, you'll have the call sessions folder. The next one is My Leads. So if you remember, I mentioned up here above that there's the My Imports filter that is specifically for if you have any data that comes from another place, such as a CRM, your broker, it's your sphere of influence, whatever it may be, and you want to import it in to our system and manage those leads through the Vortex, you can do that. And every time you import a new file, a new CSV file, it will create a folder under the My Leads folder. And it will say imported on with a specific date. Here, I'm going to just bring this open a little bit so you can see what it fully says. So you can see I've imported a couple different times, and it says the date and the time that they were imported on. If I click on these three dots that's to the right of the folder, you can click rename, and I can say, hey, okay, I want this one to be my sphere of influence.
So these are manually imported leads. It defaults to the date. You get to change it and update the name of that folder to whatever you want.
Correct. And so any leads that are going to be found in these folders, they will all show up in the My Imports filter. So all custom imports will show up in the filter, but then it also creates a folder for each one so that you can keep track of each individual file that you imported. They each have their own folder so that they're broken up that way. And then the next one is GeoLeads. This one will only apply if you have the GeoLeads service. So every time that you use the GeoLeads and you pull a neighborhood, it's going to create a new folder. And so if you're in the GeoLeads filter up here, it's going to show you all of your GeoLeads. And that is not going to be very beneficial if you're trying to only call that specific neighborhood. And so that's where you're going to come down here to your folders. And you're going to be like, okay, I want to call these leads that are at 672 East, 660 North. And so you can come specifically to that folder. You can select the leads that you want to call and dial from there. So yeah, that's a huge benefit with the GeoLeads is that it really does put the leads into each folder and it organizes them that way.
Gotcha. And I know we recently released GeoLeads Plus. Does the leads you pull from GeoLeads Plus also fall into this folder and these subfolders?
Yes. Yep. GeoLeads Plus is going to work exactly the same as GeoLeads. It'll show up in these subfolders here. The only difference is that GeoLeads Plus provides you with 5,000 credits instead of 2,000 per month. And then it also pulls emails. So you'll be able to pull the email addresses for those addresses as well and be able to filter by them and email from the system and all of that. So The other thing that I want to show you with the GeoLeads, this folder over here, if you're using GeoLeads regularly, and let's say you have GeoLeads Plus and you're pulling 5,000 credits per month, that is
Mm,
going to be a lot of folders
right.
because you can only pull a max of 500 at one time. And so even
Mm,
just in that month, that's 10 folders right there that
mhm,
you're going to be at minimum that you're going to be pulling. Okay. So that's going to be a lot of folders. Let's say you want to organize those a little bit more. And this is actually something that I specifically worked on with the customer to help her to organize her folders better and more efficiently. So I've already created these two right here. This one says Orem. This is Provo. These are two cities where we live locally. I can organize these folders into those specific cities. So I'm just clicking on the folder, holding down my mouse, and then dragging it and dropping it into the city folder that I want it to be in. So now you can see that I have some of these GeoLead subfolders are now in the folder of Orem and some are in Provo. And so I can, if I click on the little blue arrow that's to the left of the folder, I can close it or I can open it. I can hide those folders so that it's easier to have like a compacted list. And I
mm.
can come back and come to the specific city that I actually want to prospect from. So I just click on the one that I want and I can on the city that I want, and then I can select the subfolder from there of the specific neighborhood that I want to call. So if I wanted to export this list right here,
Yeah.
I would click the check mark up in the top left. That just selects all of the leads in the folder. And then there's this other button. It literally says other. And then you click export. And then you'll see down here it says exporting leads, and then it downloads this Vortex CSV file. So super
Wonderful.
beneficial there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Because then you could, if you work in other systems, whether it's in Vortex, out of Vortex, maybe you want to print those out and just have them on a spreadsheet and highlight them. Some people like pen and paper more. Some people have other CRMs or other services they do that. That lets you do that pretty easily, it looks like.
Yes, exactly. And then there's also the option to print your leads as well. You can do print list or print details.
Nice.
Both of those are two options. That same sort of thing. If you want to be able to highlight them or take them in the car with you while you're driving around to
Mm,
these leads, you can have that information in your hands and not have to worry about your computer. So let's say I want to move these leads to just my Orem folder. I don't want it as a subfolder. I just want them in my Orem folder. So I select the leads by clicking the check mark, and then I click other, and then I click add to folder. And
mm,
so you can see here that it's already checked next to the folder that these leads are already in. I'm going to uncheck that. That removes them from the folder. And then I'm going to add them to the Orem folder. And so this is a way to move your leads from one folder to another, to remove them from folders, to add them to a different folder, but doing it in a bulk way instead of having to do it one by one.
gotcha.
So then you just click OK, good there. You can also create a new folder there as well. So again, it's just the new folder down at the bottom.
Gotcha.
So